This podcast is a member of the Place to Be Nation family. Visit us at placetobenation.com, the only place to be in your pop culture world.
Hello and welcome back to Bake Off Banter. This is your weekly recap podcast of the Great British Bake Off, covering Series 16. And I am Miranda, and I am one half of this podcast, and I am the side covering for the US.
And I'm Ben, I'm the other half of the podcast. I'm the UK correspondent, and we are ready for a week that tests everything from loaves to donuts. Yes, it's a true staple of the Great British Bake Off. It's Bread Week.
Bread Week! I feel like everybody is. Bread Week is like what everybody waits for, right?
Oh, yeah.
So after Cake Week and Biscuit Week, the bar has just kept rising, and this week the bakers are going to go big with bread-based challenges. We're going to have a savory monkey bread that I have a rant about, glazed ring donuts that come with lots of innuendos, and a celebratory tiered sweet loaf.
We are going to break down everything, what worked, what went sideways, and who managed to pull off something truly show-stopping, or maybe loaf-stopping, depending on the bake.
So, grab your butter knife, maybe your donut, a hot drink, and let's rise up into Bake Off Series 16, Bread Week. Before we do that,
I see what you did there.
Bread Week, yes. But before we do, though, as you've noticed, we have been pretty timely with getting these out for everyone to listen before the UK part gets it on Tuesday, and then the American part gets it on Friday. And if you'll notice, we're just squeaking in this week real close to that Tuesday mark. And Ben, why are we squeaking in really close to that Tuesday mark?
We are squeaking in close to that mark, Miranda, because you had a little holiday. You made a little trip over to these shores.
I did. I spent the better part, almost not 5 full days, it was 3 full, 2 half days in London, which means you and I, after, what has it been, almost 7 years of friendship now? And
I believe, yeah, it's got to be something like that, 6-7 years, yeah.
We met in person. We
did. I managed to afford you a whole 3 hours of my company.
Yes. Well, to be fair, it was like 2 hours on the train for you and then 2 hours back. So, like,
yes,
that's, 4.5. Well, it was a little bit more because you had a whole situation with getting on the train and the underground. And but they're like God 5 bless. Hours of God time. Bless. Right.
God bless the underground. God bless the underground.
I will say, I loved the underground. I'm not even going to lie, but taking a bus. This is the one city that I think taking a bus is better. I really do. I really do. The underground was great, though. I loved it. I did love it.
I can't see as I'm blaming you, to be fair.
It's the opposite in Prague for me, though. I'm like, put me on the underground. I do not want to be on that bus. I do not. I don't love it. Don't love it. But we did. So we spent several hours together. We got to both go to the Natural History Museum, which you had never actually been to. So that was kind of cool. And then we had a nice lunch with a Scotch egg and all of the British things, proper chips, a Scotch egg was involved, a sausage roll was involved at a pub, at a traditional pub.
Paying London prices for things. I was like, for you, Miranda, for you.
Well, I was over here. I paid, paying for something. I was like, oh, that's not a bad price. And Ben's looking at me like.
I was like,
But then when you see it in American dollars, like when it converted, I was like, oh, God. They're not even, boys and girls, for those of you that didn't know. Yeah. So they're not even. But we wanted to tell you that is why we're a little delayed on Bake Off Banter this week, is because we actually met in person. We had a lovely meal. And we did talk some Bake Off and just life and all of the things. If you want to hear more about our meeting, be sure to check out our next episode of 2004 of Film Odyssey. We're trying to keep banter like straight to the point because our numbers have proved, which by the way, I should mention that real quick. Thank you so much. Week 1 and 2's numbers, both here, like on the pod, like through Podbean, which is who our hosting server is, and then through YouTube, have been really great for us to be a small show, a new show, and part of a large feed. So thank you so much for joining us for Bake Off Banter and making our numbers like grow. We really appreciate you. So we're apologizing for being late because clearly there are a good chunk of you that really enjoyed this.
It just means that you might well get 2 episodes this week. That's all we're saying.
You might get 2 in 1 week because this time we plan to be timely this week. I have a lot to do, but I'm back home, so we can make it work.
Yes.
We both have a little rant to go into. So just to give you a really quick breakdown, as I mentioned, we have our signature, technical, and showstopper. And this week, to remind you as well, last time our star baker was Tom. And unfortunately, Leighton, who I loved and adored, went home. And that was Biscuit Week. At the end, we're going to tell you what episode 4 is. I'm going to have a small rant there as well. Lots of rants this week.
This is Miranda's angry era, kids.
Well, you have some things to say about both of those as well. So
yes.
I'm anger here, right?
No.
So let's go ahead and start with the signature, so we can both get it out of our systems because we have things to say. Which this week's signature is a savory monkey bread. And if you don't know what a monkey bread is, it is a type of bread made by baking small balls of yeast dough in a pan with like some sort of sweet or savory sauce. Boys and girls, this is one Miranda does make. It is liked very well by everyone I have ever given it to. I've had people ask me for my recipes. I make a couple of different ones. I've done like a chicken pesto one. I have done like just like a Parmesan and herb one. The one that I do mainly because Kaden likes it. It's a take on a cinnamon roll, but it's monkey bread instead of like actual cinnamon rolls. And then I've done one when he was little that he won't eat anymore, but he used to because he doesn't do cheese anymore. He can't. It makes him not great. But I used to make one that was like a pizza monkey bread. So like pepperonis and cheese and a little sauce. And you dipped it in the sauce. Like, yeah. So I can do this one. This is a bake that I was actually quite excited when they said monkey bread because it's just not one that I thought they would ever talk about. It is very easy to do. There's also a cheater's way to do this. For anyone that is interested, you kind of go to the freezer section and you get the tiny like yeast rolls that are already in the little balls that you have to let rise. And you can kind of cheat that way if you're not good at making dough. So I was very excited about monkey bread. However, you and I had the same argument about this because I think it was Paul at some point, because I think it's later on into the signature, says, oh, well, this is great, but it's not a monkey bread. It's a tear-apart bread. And I went, they're the same thing.
Well, for me, it was even earlier than that. It was the part when they describe, they go to camera and describing what the challenge is and what they've got to do. And he says something along the lines of, he described like you just did, like, the fillings in the small balls at the end, and then you tear the bread off. I'm like, that's terrible. That's terrible. Yeah.
It is literally a pull apart.
I'll be honest. I mean, we've had this conversation before. I'm not.
Yeah.
I don't know the names of all the different kinds of bread.
Right.
I've never even heard of monkey bread, and I'm like, that's a terrible share you're describing, mate. It's quite a terrible. We're not got any copyrights as far as I'm aware. Just it's fine.
So the term of it, I looked this up. Right. So I was curious as well.
Cool.
So the term monkey bread is kind of unknown as where it came from. There are some historians that it suggests basically from it being like a finger food and the fact, monkeys eat everything with their hands and they're picking
Yes,
apart
yeah.
thing, like a monkey might. But others suggested it just simply comes from the pastry's resemblance to the monkey tree puzzle, which I was unfamiliar with. The other thing is, I have never heard it called monkey bread out of America. However, I did find an article from Mental Floss that talks about it being brought to the U.S. by Hungarian Jewish immigrants in the 19th century.
Mm.
So, for any of you that want to like dive into like the history, because I do find the history of food very interesting. And if you really like that one, if you also really like it, just a side note really quick, there is a guy that I follow on YouTube who is fantastic. He's fantastic. It's called Tasting History with Max Miller. He even has a cookbook out, and he makes so it's like a cooking show. He does make the item and tell you how to make it, but he tells you where it originated from. And he covers like things from World War II, like the Vienna bread argument, anyway, like who made it, like where does it actually come from? So if you're into that, like I am, I recommend Max Miller over on YouTube. However, there's so many different like arguments of like where it came from and like who did it and who didn't do it. And Reddit, there's a whole thread on Reddit about what is monkey bread. So I don't know. The answer to that is I don't know. But I have never heard it called monkey bread outside of the United States. Ever. And you just said you also had not either.
No.
It does say here, this is from Wikipedia, it says that it is mainly served in the United States. So maybe that's why this is the first time Bake Off. I will say Bake Off has been better about, in the last few years, adding different bakes, both sweet and savory, that are from like all over the world, not just the UK, which is cool because if you're testing a baker's skills, you should test a baker's skills, you know?
Yeah. Totally.
Yeah. So real quick, the bakers had 2 hours to turn dough into pull-apart loaf monkey bread style with a savory twist. They did have to do the savory. Flavor, texture, and how well those little balls stick together were under the microscope. And that does make, I will say, Paul is correct. When you flip your pan over, it should stay together. That was a big problem for a couple of them. They flipped it over and they just broke apart straight away. Yes. So, your argument about monkey bread was basically the same as mine, is that they're the same thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
Or did you have any other issues with, like, the monkey bread?
No. Literally, that was it. It was just, because I've never heard the word. It's the same thing.
Yeah. So we now have, I had to count. We have 10 bakers. So going through our signature, our savory monkey bread, do you have anybody that really stuck out to you?
So I really like what Jasmine did. And she just gets it. She just gets it.
Yeah.
She's almost she's pretty, like, I think the phrase I would use is sort of zen, you know, some people try and go a bit hipstery and a bit. She does her own thing, like Paul was trying to make her say, like, you should put coriander in with the olives. It's like, no, I'll put in. She's basically like, I'll put in what I want.
Yeah.
And I know it'll work.
Right. Honestly, monkey bread is one of those that you can play with. You can do different things.
Yeah.
But some of them, in my opinion, were like doing too much this time. You're being a little extra. This guy seems to be becoming a weekly highlight for me, but Ian, again, just give me all the cheese. Just give me all the cheese. Oh yeah, listen, I'm white. Of course, I love cheese. Not even like straight up. But his also did something very beautiful that to you may have been like, whatever, it's cheese, I'm good. But it did something really beautiful where his cheese, when it like kind of caramelized and crusted on the top when he flipped it, because it's baked upside down, right? When he flipped it, it made like this lacy design that I don't think he even intended. It's just how that cheese that was on the forefront there kind of like baked off across the top, but it made like this really pretty like lacy, and I think it was Parmesan. I can't remember now because it was like he called it the Irish cheese board monkey bread.
One was, one was definitely Stilton. I remember that.
Oh, absolutely, I remember that because when he said Stilton, I looked at Juliana. So I watched this with my friend that I went to London with, and I looked at her and I went, "Cheese, grommet, cheese." If you get that reference, we can be friends. If you don't, bless your heart. But yeah, his did. I also really loved his. Is one of the favorites because, like I said, it seemed like it was really well done. I also would love it, and I liked how that added like surprise design from the cheese on the top.
And then the other one I really liked again because she kept it relatively simple, which is what I've been sort of campaigning a lot about this watching this series. Nadia kept it simple. She using family rest. Paul took it up. The mushrooms in the field in Liverpool. It's like just keeping everything. You know exactly what you're doing. Yeah. You don't need to embellish it. You don't need to add things in for the sake of adding things. Just stick with what you know.
Like, unfortunately, as much as I love Puiman, I feel like hers, like the two different flavor balls, cool idea, right? So that they mix well together. It's a really cool idea, but I don't know. I just don't know.
Yeah.
That's where I felt like it was getting a little too extra, unfortunately.
And it was similar with Tom, wasn't it? Because he had like 3 or 4 different things going on. I'm like, mate,
he did, and I love Tom, but I was like, whoo, that's a feat, right? The names.
I have Tom's news, but we'll get onto them later.
We'll get to Tom news. So, honestly, in the signature, there wasn't like a clear. I feel like everybody had problems. Everybody did really well, but everybody had problems. Some did really bad. Yeah. But everybody had a problem of some sort. And I think
let's be sorry, Miranda. Let's be honest. One person had a really big problem.
Yeah. Do you want to tell everybody about the really big problem?
Yeah, Aaron should be my boy because as we discussed in the last episode, he was born literally a mile and a half from where I'm sitting now, so he should be my boy. But when the words raw and claggy get used, I'm like, nah, mate.
Yeah.
You can have whatever flavors you want. No.
Yeah, it didn't, bless his heart. But I also want to say that I noticed that everyone was nervous about Bread Week. Like none of the 10 of them that they talked to. Some years in some series, we have a person that's like, bread is my jam. I have been wanting to make bread for Paul. Every now and then we get that person that's like, bread is where I love. Like bread is what I love to make.
I thought there was a bit of that in this because Ian kept saying if there's one thing I should be good at, it's bread, and obviously the key word in that is should.
Should, right? But everyone seemed extremely nervous about Bread Week. I will say these Bread Week challenges are much different than what we're used to them having to make for Bread Week. So I did appreciate that. So our signature, you and I both love Ian. You loved Jasmine. I thought several others were also like good because I just liked what they were trying, but they didn't necessarily like hit the bar either. So my overall choice for our signature would be Ian. Absolutely. Yes. Then we moved on to our technical, which again, very American.
Can I mention one last thing before we move on? Because this episode was a particularly innuendo-laden episode of Bake Off, and I feel we can't go without passing about Puiman talking about her morning glory because I literally had to pause it about 4 or 5 times as I lost it.
This entire episode is huge with innuendos, especially through our technical.
Yeah, So there was that, and then. There's a particular scene where Jasmine and Alison are doing the tablecloth trick, and how can I put it, kids, nicely? No one modifies it, and it turns it from innuendo It's just downright filth. To the point where the camera had to. To the point where the camera had to.
Still kind of just an innuendo because he doesn't quite. It doesn't actually happen. He just says, "Well, what if I show?"
No, I think it happens, but they cut the camera away. They go very quickly to Leslie.
Oh, well, I'm sure it actually happened there on site, but we didn't see it. We didn't see it.
Yeah.
Like, it still stays in innuendo territory for the viewer.
The tablecloth rised, technically.
Yes, it was pretty funny. It was, Gillette and I laughed so hard at that. And we're going to continue our innuendos into our technical, and we stay doing something very American because they made glazed ring donuts. That's right, boys and girls, similar to a Krispy Kreme. Paul set them the tricky task of making a dozen classic ring donuts, all glazed. 6 of them needed the plain glaze, and the other 6 had to be dipped in strawberry icing and decorated, which I had some, like, it said swirls, correct? Was that
Correct.
rings, swirls? So that'll come into play as like I think there were only a few people that took it the same way. So you've got timing, frying, and shape that all matter. And I'm just going to say any hole gone wrong is going to show.
Make sure you've got your white ring showing.
Yeah. The innuendos that flew from this one about holes and hole size and perfect holes and whether it was a good hole or a bad hole.
Whether it was a nice hole and nice ring. It was like, what are we doing?
I was like, what are we doing? And you could see some of them when they said it, they genuinely didn't mean it that way, but then the others were giving
No.
Yeah. And also, it's like, I get what they were trying to say without being an innuendo. Like, they genuinely, how else were you supposed to say it, right? Like, there were a few of these words that it's like, how else were they supposed to say it? But it's still really funny. This one was kind of all over the place. As I mentioned, I don't remember the wording right now, and I should have wrote it down, but with the decorations, it was supposed to be like, it said something about decorated with like a swirl or a ring. I don't remember.
The word swirl definitely got mentioned.
Okay. So
because if you remember when they're doing the judging, Prue and Paul make note of, obviously they don't know who the person is at that point, but Jasmine's hasn't got a swirl. She's gone for her own decoration. They said, well, that's not what we asked for. Also, it was words to that effect anyway.
Yeah. But I think the problem with saying swirl is your idea of a swirl on like as a decoration might be something totally different than like mine.
Yeah.
So I was like, I didn't blame them for them being all over the place. And most of them, I was like, that's not a swirl. Like I was even like, that's not a swirl. To me, it wasn't a swirl. But they did have to do these donuts. Did you have anybody that you particularly liked how they did the technical?
So, again, we're mentioning her a lot tonight, but obviously, Jasmine, you know what it is with Jasmine, what I really, really like? She is just so level-headed. It's just like, right, we're doing this. You know what I mean? Because everything's in stages. There's no, like, going back and having to sort something out. She's got a clear plan of everything's doing, even with the technical, I would say.
And I will say also in this technical art, we're having some favorites that are dropping, by the way.
Yes. Yeah. Big time. So Tom's only mid-table, isn't he? 5th or 6th, I can't remember. But he doesn't do very well. Ian's right around there as well.
He was 6th. So yeah, you have Tom at 5th, Ian at 6th. If you want me to run down it real quick, Jasmine at 1st, who I think is actually starting to. She was kind of middle of the pack, week 1 and week 2. I think Bread Week, even though she was as nervous as she was, I think Bread is her. I think she's good at it. I think it's almost like I know I used the word in the last section, but we're going to use it again. She's always got like a Zen-like quality, like very clear-headed. This is what I'm doing. Nothing's going to change. Nothing. Whatever you're doing, I don't care about. I'm doing this. Right. She just has this like calmness to her, yeah.
Yeah.
But she's kind of bumped herself up, I think. She's kind of moved herself from mid-pack, which we're still only week 3. So being mid-pack isn't necessarily a bad thing.
No.
Because we will repeat this probably until we stop watching Bake Off. And that is one bad bake, one bad week, or one good bake, one good week is all it takes to either go home or be Star Baker.
And we have a great example of that on this episode.
Of both, actually, in this episode.
Yeah.
If you think about it. So, yeah, I'll just run down the list really quick, and you can tell me your other favorites that you really like. So we had Jasmine is first in the technical. Second is Nadia. Third is...
I like Nadia. I like Nadia a lot.
I do like Nadia. I think she's... bless her heart, her voice, though. Her voice.
You know, like the Liverpudlian / Scouse accent.
Do you know what she reminds me of? Do you remember that show when we first were becoming friends? There was a show that I got addicted to. It was like Snog, Mary. It's not on the air anymore.
Yes, not Snog, Mary, Avoid.
Yes, Snog, Mary, Avoid. Okay, and it's a makeover show. And there would always be those girls that would come on and be like, "I'm gonna be a footballer's wife." Like they wore like the most like crazy. They're like, "I don't need a makeover," and that was horrible. And I'm about to be ripped by the whole of the UK, and I understand it. But for some reason,
hey, look, we let Dick Van Dyke on Mary Poppins. You're fine.
This is true. However, for some reason, when she talks, that is what I hear. I hear those girls that used to come on that show, specifically the ones that were always like, had plans of being a footballer's wife, and there was nothing wrong with their look. And you know exactly what I'm talking about. If you're from the UK, you also know exactly what I'm talking about. I'm not being a mean girl here. Yeah. But that's what her voice makes me think of. She's not one of those. And she's very smart. And she's very intelligent and knows what she's doing. Her voice, however, immediately takes me there. And I'm like, oh,
but much like Jasmine, though, she is another one who this is clearly her thing.
Yeah, for sure.
Failure to plan is, planning to fail, failure to plan, and all that kind of stuff. So.
Right. Your boy Aaron is number 3 this week.
Well, this starts much like last week's episode. This starts the redemption arc for our Aaron.
It does. It really does. And also at this point on, this is also another technical where like, yes, Jasmine was really good and hers was actually good, but after like number 3 or 4, they were all kind of like
they were all much of a muchness, weren't they?
Yeah, exactly.
You can probably say the top 3, the bottom 1, so those 4 places, and then everybody else could have been anything from 4 to 9.
Yeah. So we had Toby 4th, Tom 5th, Ian 6th, Jessica 7th, Natalia 8th, which broke my heart, Leslie number 9, and Puman number 10.
So I'll say something. I'll say something about Natalia, which I noticed during this episode. I don't know if you picked it up. Yes. Do you know when to do that? Do you know when they're doing that bit where they have to describe what they're making?
Yes.
To the judges. On the 2 occasions where they did that with Natalia, she was so nervous, and I don't know whether it was just she couldn't get the English out right or what, but it was, she was. You could tell when she's thinking about the bread, and it's like I haven't got time to do a 5-minute chat with you guys.
Yeah, I think, is she the one that told somebody I could do this if you'd leave me alone, but was very polite about it?
Yeah, basically, that was the vibe I got, was like, she was so, like, we talk about Jessica being zen and being, like, totally calm and focused. Natalia was the opposite of that, and it showed.
And Jasmine could have been on the inside freaking the hell out, right? But poor Natalia.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Poor Natalia is one of those people that, unfortunately, when she's nervous, it shows outwardly. And you brought that up. It's what's funny is, so Juliana was behind on episodes because she had a lot going on at work. So we watched all 3 of these. Like when we got back to the hotel room at night, we had our little like girl dinner and our treats, and we would watch Bake Off. And she noticed about halfway into episode 1, and then we got to 2, and she's like, I think this, and by the way, this is her favorite. She loves Natalia. Natalia is one of her favorites. She's like, I think the poor girl has a stutter. And I didn't notice it, but I now noticed after you saying it and she said it, and I did like a rewatch today. I think when she's extremely nervous, when she speaks in English, it's not so much of a stutter, it's like a pause. It's like, because English isn't her first language.
She wants to make. She's trying. Yeah. I won't say it's a stutter. I think it's more of a thing of, like I say, because English is not her first language. She wants to make sure what she's saying is correct.
Yes, I agree. I still love her, and 8th broke my heart for her. It really did.
She didn't have the best week, but
no. But again, like everyone seemed to really hate Bread Week. I have never seen a Bread Week where everyone was just so devastated over it being Bread Week.
Yeah.
So technical glazed ring donuts. I kind of was excited to see them make donuts and not make we do all these like bread plats and savory focaccias, and which I love, but like I kind of enjoyed that we're doing like glazed donuts and monkey breads and
but it's one of those things. It seems basic, but then when you actually watch them do it, you realize it's not basic.
Oh, and I have tried to make donuts. It's hard to get them uniform at least. Like if you don't,
you've got to make the shape. You've got to prove it. You've got to fry it. And in this case, you've got to glaze it. It's like no.
And they still need to be a certain, like you can't let them just like cool completely and then glaze them. They need to be still sort of like warm, and like when you're making them for like toddlers in your family, they don't care if they're all uniform and perfect circles. And like, I'm not making another innuendo because I don't know how to say this. Like the whole, it doesn't have to be, but you know what I'm saying? Like, it's not uniform. Like a Krispy Kreme, they're all going to be pretty identical, right? Like that's what they're known for. They have the machines to do that. But like when you're doing them by hand, making them just so precisely perfect, it's really hard. I have never accomplished it. And I'm actually not that great at making homemade donuts. Again, another cheat way, boys and girls, if anyone's interested. Buy canned biscuits.
You're revealing all your secrets here.
I don't know, because I don't gatekeep. You buy like canned biscuits, or again, the ones from the freezer, and you thaw them, and then you just cut a hole out once they're thawed and proved. Or if they're fresh, you don't even have to prove them. You just cut the hole out and go for it.
So like we say, like the top 3, yes. 4 to 9 could have been any order, and then poor man at the end. Poor man just had a mare. Let's just call it what it was. It was just a mare.
Yeah, it was bad. It was pretty bad. Our showstopper kind of confused both you and I both. If that's all you have to say about technical, I guess I should ask.
That's it. Yeah, we're good.
All right, so we're moving on and getting close to the end of our episode already, but that's okay. So our showstopper.
Sorry. Behind the curtain, guys, we're shocked we're actually keeping it to time.
Right. Listen, if the episode on TV is 1 hour long, or it's like an hour and a half, actually, isn't it? Something like that. I don't know. After 16 years, I just watch. But we're trying to keep it way under that so that you can enjoy it. We're not the extra slice over here. We're Bake Off Banter. There's a difference.
Absolutely.
We don't have special guests and bald heads and
not yet. We don't.
I will not have a bald head.
I was talking about the guests. I wasn't talking about that.
Oh! I thought you were talking about a lovely bald one that is on extra size.
I am getting bald. Though. Yeah. Well, that's another story for another.
But you and I both kind of got confused for a moment about our showstopper, which is called the celebratory tiered sweetbread. And you and I were both like, what? So, for this finale of Bread Week, the bakers were asked to build a 3-tiered sweet bread creation. It is supposed to tell a story, a celebration with a personal meaning, and it has to taste as good as it looks. Layers, fillings, decorations, all in this one. So, give me your thoughts on celebratory tiered sweet bake and what you thought that was, because I didn't know. I was like, what is
So
that?
I'll be honest, because I did not have a Scooby-Doo what it was until I did not have a Scooby-Doo what it was until I watched, because I try and watch the episodes at least twice to, know what I'm talking about. And again, when the judges are describing it, Prue describes it perfectly. It's a wedding cake just made of bread. And I was like, as soon as she said that, I was like, and if you'll pardon me, I'm sorry, family, there's going to be a swear here. Of course it fucking is.
And from what I can tell, this is served a lot of times at Ukrainian weddings.
Yes, because they obviously made mention of it. There are 2 Ukrainian breads, the korovai, I believe it's called.
Yeah, korovai.
One, obviously, Natalia does one, obviously, and then Leslie also does one. So, they were like, we did. She was like, Leslie was like, I didn't mean to. I was like, you can do 2 things the same.
Yeah, but I think
that's what
she felt bad because I think what she meant by that is like, Natalia did it. She is from Ukraine, right? And I think she felt bad and felt like, oh, I'm copying the Ukrainian girl and I'm not Ukrainian. But I didn't take it that way at all. I took it as like a beautiful, like, tribute to another culture's, thing.
Exactly.
Yeah. But there are some really cool blogs about it for anyone interested because I wanted to know what this was. But yeah, essentially it is a wedding bread. I didn't know this. You didn't know this. So I was like, what is this? What is celebratory tiered sweetbread? I was like, I don't know what this is. But it's really cool.
Yeah.
We have some all over the places. So I'm going to let you talk a little bit about the showstopper and your favorites.
So the first one, and this one might not be an obvious one because I don't think it's particularly good reviews from the judges, but I'm a big fan of stolen bread at Christmas. So the fact that Toby did a stolen bread sweet bread,
yeah,
I was like, yes, mate, you're my kind of person.
I love Toby. His was called, because they name them all. If you're new here,
yes,
they name every bake they do, and this one was called the bread that stole, SPOLLE, Christmas sweetbread.
Good. We also love it. We also love a good pun round here.
Yeah, we do love a good pun. We love a good dad joke. I cracked a great one in the History Museum. I'm very proud of myself.
Yeah.
Old man around us laughed. I have a compliment. But I did as well. For those that don't know what a stollen is, I feel like most people know what a stollen is. But if you don't, why is it giving it to me? Sometimes when I Google things to give you guys a correct definition, it gives it to me in Czech. I don't want to do that. It's a traditional German fruit bread. It's got a lot of dried candies, nuts, and fruits. And I know I'm hearing you guys go, but Miranda, that's a fruit cake. And you're not wrong, but you're also wrong because they are different. No, they are slightly different. A fruit cake versus a stollen is kind of different. But they do have a lot of similarities. I will say German fruit bread is yeasted dough, while a fruit cake is usually, they say, more British. I don't know. Would you agree with that?
I would agree with that. Yeah, we like Stollen gets sold. We sell it in our shop, so it's not like it's quite common now.
It is. And I'm pretty sure you can buy it in several shops in America, but people try to say that fruitcake and stollen bread are the same thing, and they're not. Stollen originated in Germany and is made with yeasted dough, and a fruitcake, while they contain the same ingredients, it's typically made with like a pound cake batter. Also, key differences: stollen is bread-like. Example: using it for bread week, and it has a distinctive oval shape. It's supposed to represent baby Jesus in his swaddling clothes. And fruitcake is heavier, denser. You can use it as a doorstop, and often soaked in alcohol. My kind of treat. I'm sure you, at some point in your life, have been gifted that fruitcake where you're like, "Oh my God, this is a paperweight. I can't eat this." You know what I'm talking about? It's bad. Anyway, yes.
Somebody else I want to mention, because we haven't, I don't think we've even mentioned it. I don't think we even mentioned it once in this episode, but
God.
the design I really like. I think, again, didn't get particularly good reviews from the judges, but I really like Jessica's cake, the rain dance, with the little decorations all around it.
It's called Rain Dance Celebration Sweetbread.
Yes. So I really did like that as well. But the star of the show for me, of the whole lot, just because you want something to be a little bit different, and this was in terms of.
Oh, I hope it's fine. I was going to say it's my favorite. Okay, go for it.
In terms of the colours that we use, it's got to be Nadia's. It's got to be Nadia's cake.
Oh, okay.
Basically, she used some red colouring, which so she turns up with the cake, and her hands are just absolutely. Basically, imagine somebody working in an abattoir all day, and they're just presenting.
Yeah.
At the end. But obviously, the cake was a thing of beauty, but it was just like this person, just this red colouring all down their top and their aprons, their hands. I'm like, oh, you poor girl.
I do love when they sometimes, like, they're trying to present their thing and their hands are, like, stained. I think we've seen this from Tom. His was, like, all orange.
Yes.
So, yes, Nadia's was great, but I have to say, my favorite.
Go on.
Okay, so, and I'm sure this does not surprise you because you know how I am and the things that I'm very into in my personal life. Ian and his.
Now, yes, I was going to get.
Okay. You know how into Samhain, Halloween, all of those things I am. And it was called, it's a Samhainderful, sorry, it's a mouthful, time of year. And it was a sweet bread for his showstopper, obviously. It was described as his bread intended to celebrate the Samhain festival. The details of the bread, I can't fully remember. Like, I just remember it was very elaborate. You know, I just don't remember. He did, like, a lot of colors. I was trying to find a picture of it to see if I could find a picture. But it was, oh my God, it was so cute. Okay, so there was, like, an apple cream. So he used very fall flavors. And it was 4-tiered, technically, because that one top, like the fire on the top. I really love this, and I love that he was incorporating he was being himself, basically.
Yes.
Yes.
Having said all that, Miranda, you know, I'm fully on the Ian train, so I'm not saying anything out of you. You're describing everything that came up to the judging.
Yeah.
I noticed you've not mentioned any of the judges' comments here.
I have not, but that's not the point. I still thought it was wonderful.
I see.
No, if you take away the inside and like what actually happened for him, when you're talking about the design and what he was making,
look great.
I was so into this. However, the judges' comments may have not been the best about this cake. Yeah, so I feel bad for him there. But if we're just talking about like we're looking at this, it was one of my favorite, especially the concept, because we've talked about that already in the last 2 weeks. That there's a lot of times that we really enjoyed the person's concept, we really enjoyed what they were trying to pull off, but then when it got to the judges, it didn't quite fulfill the execution of what needed to take place. So that's what happened here, unfortunately. Execution.
Another person we've really not mentioned after last week, where it was basically his program for the whole episode. Is Tom. They did fade Tom into the background a bit here on this episode.
They did.
Because he was very much. Sorry, Miranda. He was very much middle of the pack here, and so I said, all fair to you. Like, I think I know what my issue is with him.
Okay.
He's giving off, and the program, you know, because they like it. they're like a good leading man. He's giving off main character energy, and I'm like, is he the main? Is he the main guy?
They did show, in fairness, and I think we even brought this up. They did show him a lot in episode 2. Like they did show him a lot, and because you even were like, oh, I see where this is going, and we saw a lot of like specific bakers.
Yeah.
So this week he fell into like the mid pack where Jessica usually is.
But it's weird. It's weird because I like the guy, so I don't like.
Do too.
It's not
really
like it's. It's like it's the way it's edited. It's like all these family shows, isn't it? It's the way it's edited and the way it's put together.
Exactly.
But like they're trying to make him out to be the main character, and I'm like, there's still 10 people.
Yeah, but you're right. When they edit it, they show us who they want us to focus on and see. And sometimes it's because that person is failing, and sometimes it's because that person is great. And I'm sure they get feedback every, when they get the numbers. I'm sure they pay attention to the chatter on social media, like, oh, I love Tom, or I love this person. And so I bet you they're like, okay, hey, let's re-edit that a little bit because everybody's loving this person. Yeah.
Yes.
I mean, it's very likely because they give us what they want us to see. So yeah, he did kind of start falling into the mid pack, not for me, but like as far as like what the viewer saw. And we're getting to the point, which we've been this way since the beginning. There's no one that I didn't like. There's just not anyone that I don't like this year. There's just people that I like a lot more than others. Yeah,
same. I've got. I know you won't get this reference, but much like Booker T, I've got my phase. I've got a phase, but he's got a phase 5. I've got a phase. I've got a phase 3. I've got a phase 3.
Okay.
You don't know who Booker T is, so.
Are you kidding me? I don't know.
Do you do?
Sir, I do.
I did. Excellent.
Are you talking about 6-time world champion Booker T?
I am talking about the exact same guy.
Okay, yeah, I know what you're talking about. We've been over this. I may not actively watch wrestling, but I am very familiar. I used to heavily watch wrestling, and I am still familiar with a lot.
So he is a commentator now. He has a bit where he has his fave 5. So I've got my fave 3.
Got your fave 3.
So Ian's my boy.
Yeah.
Natalia.
Yeah.
Everything about her just tremendous. And then I rather left field pick because going back to what I was saying about, I like, I'm a less is more kind of guy. So this person gives me the vibes of your traditional home baker who's just really, really, really good. And we don't really talk about her a lot, so I'm going to say my third is Leslie. I think Leslie's great.
I think she is good. I think she keeps falling mid pack, right? Like she's not.
Yeah. That's what it is. That's exactly what it is.
She's consistent. She's not bad. She's not good, but she's consistent.
Yeah.
And I hate to say, I am like Booker T. I do have a fave 5, and unfortunately, I don't know why, but she's not in it. She's one of those that, you know how every time they pop, this happens every series, and I always tell you, they pop somebody up on the screen, and I'm like, oh, I forgot about them.
Who's your fave 5 then? Who have you got?
Okay. Tom.
Yeah.
Ian.
Yes.
Toby. Natalia. And I really adore Aaron. I think it's his personality. Yeah, I know. It can't be all about the bakes, right? Like their personality plays a part in this.
Oh yeah. But you're talking your favorites. You're not talking the best.
Right. Exactly. There were some fails this time with Showstoppers.
Yeah. So Ian was the big one. As he put it himself, they didn't say what. They didn't have one positive thing to say.
Yeah, they didn't. Unfortunately, I still really loved his, but it didn't meet the challenge. In the end, there were some problems. There were a lot of problems.
Yes.
But the idea, the concept, I think if he'd had more time, maybe he goes home and he practiced it. Like if he makes this for friends, I think it could be fantastic.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I do have the Fave 5. The problem is there's 10. We still got some time to go, right? We're gonna go into episode 4 with 9.
We got to make some cuts, Coach.
Yeah. So we were trying to stay under a certain time limit. So I'm gonna move us forward, and so showstoppers get judged, get walked through, and they end up start talking about a couple of different people to eliminate, and people that we wouldn't have thought about before. Ian being one of them, right? They talked about Ian on the chopping block. They talked about Puman on the chopping block. And I think there was another one that they were like, is also not safe.
I think before the showstopper, there was sort of two. It was Puman and Aaron, wasn't it? But Aaron's, we haven't really spoken about it. Aaron's bait was great, dedicated to two easy friends who passed away. And that was really good, really good. And,
it was fantastic.
Let's be blunt about it. The lad saved himself, so I think he came down to play man
in the technical. He came out with that showstopper. He is proof that all you need is to have a good week.
Yeah.
And unfortunately,
I think.
Go ahead.
I think it came down to Puman because they tell you they'd have a good week, and then like you say, Ian as well.
Yeah. And the three of them, and you're looking at them, and they've been top. They've been highly recognizable. I mean, again, we're only in number 3, but like they've been people that you're like, oh, they're going to do well. And so now they're talking about like 3 favorites essentially already in week 3. And unfortunately, I'll let you go ahead and announce who our star baker was. That obviously is definitely staying. I have been it just turned into that I'm elimination girl. I think you always get to name Star Baker, and I just am going to name eliminations, and it's sad, but it is. So if you'll go ahead and tell everyone who our Star Baker of the week was for Bread Week.
So I plead to say that I have the great job this week of announcing who Star Baker is. She did a fantastic monkey bread. She came first in the technicals. She did some great donuts, and she did a very good showstopper as well. It was Jasmine's week to shine. Yes, she gets a Star Baker apron this week.
Yep, with her midsummer flour crown sweetbread, she took home Star Baker this week. But I get the unfortunate and the sad. Usually Noel and Allison take turns. I don't know how this happened. Anyway, I said before we came on the air, I'd do the horrible job. I know, but then you loved Jasmine so much in the way that the flow of the show was going. It just made sense for you to do it. It just made sense. It just made sense. Because I was about to just blurt out who our eliminated was, and I was like, crap, I can't do that. So anyway, the unfortunate. As we mentioned many times, sometimes you have a bad week. You try a monkey bread that's just too extra. You come in 10th in the technical, and you make a coconut cocktail wedding sweetbread that unfortunately no one enjoyed. And therefore, Puman has been eliminated from Series 16 on Episode 3, Bread Week. And that is just devastating.
You can't have two miracles in a row, basically.
I mean, essentially, she had 3 bad bakes in one. One. Yeah, and unfortunately, I think if it were something different, if they had done one of those, we're not sending anyone home, she could have come back in episode 4 and just blown everybody out of the water, and it would have been fantastic. But that is the name of this game, and all it takes is you can redeem yourself very quickly, or you can fall very quickly. And I think this week, both Jasmine as our star baker and Puman being eliminated are proof of those things.
I think there's usually a couple of episodes in the series where both the star baker and the eliminated person, it's quite easy. You can tell who it is, and in this case, you can tell who it was by the technical. There wasn't going to be
right.
There wasn't going to be too much, say. At the very least, even if Aaron hadn't done what he did, Puman was still in the conversation, wasn't she?
Absolutely.
She was never moving out of that position.
But if she had come into that showstopper and pulled off what Jessica did, it would be no question. She would have stayed. She would have had another week, and we probably would have been saying goodbye to, unfortunately, Ian or Natalia or one of them that we also don't want to. You start really enjoying. Even 3 episodes in, you start really picking your favorites. And I did have high hopes. I really thought she was one that could go far in the series. It broke my heart. And Ian, bless his heart, he looked devastated and shocked. I think he thought he was for sure going home.
What did he say? I haven't dodged the bullets. I've dodged a nuke.
Yeah. So that was Bread Week, boys and girls. And let's go on a small adventure to tell you what we are going to come back and discuss next week. I don't know how I feel about this. So as Ben and I mentioned earlier, they're keeping the names of each week kind of hush-hush this year until closer to time. And I've been checking frantically, well, not frantically, but kind of frantically. I use this app to mark off when I watch television show for anyone interested. It's called TV Time. And I kept looking to see the name of the episode. And it just was not telling me. And then we ended. And they told us.
Yes.
Oh, my God. Just tell everybody what it is.
The theme weeks have started, kids. And kids is quite an appropriate word to use because the theme is back to school.
Back to school. I do already know what week 5 is going to be, and I'm not mad about it. Episode 4, though, back to school. This could be really cute and a really cool concept, or it could be a failure, like the week where they got. I don't remember. They picked a very specific country a few series ago. You and I went on a complete rant about this with each other. And then they ended up picking bakes that had nothing to do with that country. And it would have taken an assistant, one goog, to find out.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, all I will say is if it's food to do with school and food to do with what you cooked in school when you're doing your home ec classes, there better be a lot of chocolate brownies and flapjacks on this, because that's pretty much all I did.
Okay, so
pizzas as well.
I actually just found out what it's going to be. I just tapped on something and I read the synopsis for this week. Do you want me to tell you? Or do you want to wait and be surprised?
Yeah, go on. Go on. I won't rant. I'll look. I'll make a noise, and then that'll describe the feelings.
You will allow it.
Yes.
So for back to school week, our bakers are starting off with a classic canteen favorite of flapjacks, before being tested with a fondly remembered school cake technical with a catch. And for their final exam, they will have to produce a spectacular school fete showstopper full of treats. Okay, so there's still a lot of uncertainty here. I mean, flapjacks, yeah, we get. School cake, I have a pretty good. I think I know which one they're going with, because I think you and we all had the same. There's that sheet cake. Yeah, American, British, Canadian, we all had it. It was that basic sheet cake, right? Yeah. So I guess we'll see how it goes. I'm still not super excited about the idea of back to school week, but maybe, maybe. So, you know what? That's whatever. That's a wrap on.
That's for next time. That's for next time,
but that's okay. So wrap on Bread Week, where sometimes everything rose perfectly and other times not so much.
We will be back next time to peek inside the tent at whatever theme we've just talked about. You can tell I'm reading the script here, kids. We will be back for back to school week because we are at the theme stage. So it's going to get sticky, it's going to get sweet, it's going to get crunchy, it's going to get messy, and we are here for all of it.
Absolutely. So if you enjoyed this episode of Bake Off Banter, as many of you have, thank you. Hit subscribe so you don't miss a single crumb of drama. And if you've got thoughts on Bread Week, your favorite loaf, the best donut, or that sweetbread showstopper, we want to hear them.
Absolutely. You can get Miranda on Instagram. I think, Miranda, you're on there. I'm on Blue Sky. So yeah, Mum's a nerd. See, I pay attention, Miranda. You're pleased, aren't you? I can tell.
Yeah.
Miranda's mum's a nerd on Instagram. I'm Ben Locke on Blue Sky. So just thank you so much for listening to us for the last two or three episodes. How long you've been here for? And until next week, keep your ovens warm and your proof times even longer.
So bake well, banter often, and remember, life is what you bake it.